Welcome to the 42nd week of this year's In Times Like These recap. Now let's get into this, starting with Vivian Jones, who is in her apartment with her lover Pacho Torres, telling him that she's nervous about her mother Shirley's unexpected return to Valley Park, especially since Shirley's husband Isaac Pierce is now the police commissioner and surprised her with a new diner. Vivian, realizing too late about Isaac's position, worries her family will discover she's been in town all along, which could jeopardize her plans. Pacho suggests she reach out to avoid a sudden encounter, but Vivian rejects the idea, explaining that she won't risk revealing herself until she's secured all the shares to Russo Jewelers. At the Russo estate, Gianni Russo confronts his younger brother Isidore about what he and Alan did to anger their father, Lorenzo. Isidore dismisses him, saying it's none of his business, but Gianni insists he's trying to keep the family from falling apart. Isidore accuses Gianni of only caring about staying in Lorenzo's favor. Frustrated, Gianni retorts that Lorenzo has every right to be angry, though he doesn't enjoy seeing their mother Clarice in distress over the tension. When Isidore presses him about Clarice's feelings, Gianni leaves, prompting Isidore to wonder what their mother might be planning. At the Beauty From Within salon, Quinlan offers her condolences to Kimmy for Danny's passing. Kimmy, grateful, confides that she'd already started grieving when she first heard about the girl in the suitcase, though losing Danny isn't any easier. After Kimmy leaves, Quinlan questions Jackie about the Apina family, suspecting a link to Danny. Jackie warns her to stay out of it if she wants to avoid Danny's fate. When Quinlan presses, Jackie insists she knows little beyond what Kimmy shared, but cautions Quinlan to remember that curiosity can lead to danger, recalling Quinlan's inquisitiveness as a child. At Rosalind's funeral in Miami, the Dorvals meet with Shelley's cousin Dee Dee Benjamin to offer their condolences. Dee Dee thanks them, and as they catch up, they're surprised by the arrival of Udell, who reveals he's there to read Rosalind's will. Dee Dee seems unaware of any specifics, speculating that her mother might have put the Dorvals in charge of her estate. However, when the will is read, the Dorvals are stunned to learn that Dee Dee will be moving in with them. Though Jeremiah and Shelley feel unprepared, Dee Dee silently celebrates her mother's decision, eager to embrace a life of wealth and luxury. The Dorval family arrives at Shirley's diner, warmly greeted by Shirley after Isaac introduces them. While Vanessa, JJ and Dee Dee enjoy time with Austin, Shirley offers her condolences to Shelley and Jeremiah, who thank her and congratulate her on her diner. Shirley attributes her success to Faith and credits Isaac, who gifted her the diner. The Dorvals praise Isaac for being family-oriented, noting Austin's polite demeanor, which prompts Shirley to share that Austin is her stepson and she has an older daughter. When the Dorvals ask about Austin's mother, Isaac reveals she passed away due to a texting and driving accident. As the conversation shifts, Shirley introduces her daughter as Vivian, who, as Isaac explains, lives out of town for an internship, assuring the Dorvals they'll meet her one day. At Russo Jewelers, Vivian approaches Gianni with a fake look of concern, revealing that Isidore is planning a hostile takeover. Gianni is initially confused, especially when Vivian hints that Isidore is taking advantage of Lorenzo's poor health. As she explains, she reveals that Lorenzo entrusted her with half his shares, which leaves Gianni puzzled about her motives. When Gianni suggests returning the shares to Lorenzo, Vivian claims he wouldn't accept them back and claims she even consulted Isidore for advice. She then shares that Isidore urged her to sign the shares over to him. Realizing Isidore's true intentions, Gianni vows to counter Isidore's plan and take control of Russo Jewelers himself, reassuring Vivian she made the right choice by confiding in him. In the Russo Jewelers lobby, Isidore questions his son Alan about Lorenzo's well-being. Alan claims that Clarice has noticed changes, including Lorenzo snapping at her, something Isidore finds highly unusual. Alan further suggests that Clarice is so distressed by Lorenzo's behavior that she wants him to step down from his role at the company. Isidore then asks if Clarice has discussed Lorenzo's condition with Gianni, emphasizing that it's crucial for Alan to inform him if she does. When Alan asks why Isidore is worried, Isidore vaguely implies that Gianni might exploit Lorenzo's weakened state. After Isidore leaves, Alan quietly revels in the discord he's sown within the family for his own advantage. Quinlan Franklin meets with Pacho at Global News Press to update him on the show's progress and pitch her idea for a future story investigating the Apina family. Pacho, aware of the Apina's powerful reputation, questions her interest, especially given a possible connection to Danny Clark. When Quinlan insists, Pacho advises her to drop the idea, reminding her of past repercussions. Pacho, having recently acquired GNP, expresses concerns about making dangerous enemies. Quinlan challenges his reluctance, asking if he's avoiding Danny's story. Pacho clarifies he's not blocking her story, but cautions her against implicating the opinions without solid proof. At Danny's funeral, Quinlan is greeted by Jackie and Kimmy before noticing Danny's family and wondering why her parents allowed her to drop out of school. Kimmy reveals that Danny had moved out to support her younger brother, which shocks Quinlan. Jackie then pulls Quinlan aside, urging her to back off the investigation to avoid danger. Quinlan insists on pursuing justice, even though Jackie warns her of the potential consequences. Later, Quinlan meets Ben and reaffirms her commitment to uncovering the truth, revealing her plan to confront Wade Appiah for answers. At school, Vanessa introduces her boyfriend Max to her cousin Dee Dee. Meanwhile, Zeke discusses Christmas gift ideas for his girlfriend Nichelle. Dee Dee notices Zeke and, intrigued, asks Vanessa about him. Vanessa warns her that Zeke is trouble and dating Nichelle, advising Dee Dee to avoid causing any drama. Later, Dee Dee pretends to need help navigating the school and strikes up a conversation with Zeke, bonding over their shared experiences with parental loss. When Nichelle arrives, Dee Dee introduces herself, subtly stirring tension. After she leaves, Zeke assures Nichelle that Dee Dee is harmless, but Nichelle senses trouble. At Russo Jewelers, Vivian is in Isidor's office, informing him that Gianni is now planning to do a hostile takeover of the company, telling Isidore that it's only a matter of time before Gianni signs over his shares to her. Isidore feels like getting Gianni's shares would be a piece of cake, since Gianni feels like, since he's the firstborn, that he deserves to be the next in line to take over the company. Vivian tells Isidore how they have one thing getting in their way. As soon as Isidore asks what it is, Vivian tells him that Gianni will want her to hand Isidore's shares over to him. Upon hearing this, Isidore admits that it would be a tricky challenge, certain that Gianni is aware that he'll want his shares as well. Vivian asks Isidore what he plans to do. Isidore tells Vivian that Gianni will know something is up if he just hands his shares over, stating that he'll have to pretend to be hard to get. As soon as Vivian states that Isidore has another stumbling block, Isidore questions what it is. She tells him that Clarice might be on Gianni's side. In Heidi's office, her husband Gianni tells her that Isidore is planning a hostile takeover of Russo Jewelers. He shares that Clarice urged him to persuade Lorenzo to step down, but Gianni believes a takeover is his only option. Heidi suggests he speak directly with Lorenzo, but Gianni worries it would only anger him. Concerned that Lorenzo's choices, like signing shares over to Vivian, could harm the company, Gianni asks Heidi for help with his plan. Specifically, he needs her to sign over some of her and Max's shares to Vivian to ensure the takeover's success. In his office, Wade Appiah tells his brother Sean he'll call back and then receives word that a reporter is waiting to meet with him. He allows Quinlan in, and she introduces herself, mentioning she's about to launch her own news program. Wade congratulates her, though he's wary when she expresses interest in featuring his prominent family. Wade questions her motives, asking if she's after their secrets, but Quinlan reassures him she's not interested in tabloid stories. Wade thanks her for coming, but firmly signals that he has work to do. After she leaves, Wade quietly hopes their paths never cross again. At the high school, Max asks Vanessa how her cousin Dee Dee is adjusting. Vanessa assures him that Dee Dee's outgoing nature is helping her make friends, which is a relief after her mother's passing. After sharing a kiss, Vanessa leaves and JJ approaches Max. Max confronts JJ, suspecting he's still bitter over Vanessa dating him. JJ confirms he can't break them up, but is waiting for Max to ruin the relationship himself. When JJ brings up Max's past mistake with Yvette, questioning Vanessa's forgiveness, Max insists Vanessa matters deeply to him. JJ doubts this, saying Vanessa deserves someone who respects her more. Max tries to walk away, but JJ escalates, saying Max is the worst thing to happen to Vanessa, citing her past hardships with Kiev. Infuriated, Max pushes JJ, only for Dee Dee to arrive, warning Max to stay away from her cousin. At Russo Jewelers, Isidore confides in his son Alan that he needs to talk to Clarice, since she's worried about Lorenzo's recent behavior and might push for Gianni to take his place. Alan asks if the family would need to vote on that, but Isidore points out that only he and Alan would oppose it, so they need Clarice on their side. When Alan questions if Isidore is planning a hostile takeover, Isidore clarifies he's trying to prevent Gianni from doing so. Isidore says he hopes to work with Gianni to understand what's troubling Lorenzo, but Alan is skeptical, noting his father isn't the sharing type. Isidore admits he's not, but says family is his priority, fearing Gianni might exploit the family's current vulnerability. Alan promises to prevent Clarice from siding with Gianni, though once alone, he privately vows to make sure she supports his own plans instead. In her office, Vivian receives a call from Gianni, who tells her that Heidi is hesitant to sign over Max's shares. Vivian instructs him not to pressure Heidi, and after hanging up, Pacho questions her about the call. Vivian confidently tells him the Russo dynasty is about to crumble. Pacho argues that she's just turning the family against each other to get ahead, reminding her that she is a Russo by blood, if not by name. Vivian, however, is determined to make the Russos feel her childhood pain, and she's focused on becoming CEO of Russo Jewelers. She says she won't let personal feelings distract her, even skipping Thanksgiving with the family she never knew. Pacho predicts Isidore and Gianni will eventually hand over their shares, and when he mentions Heidi's resistance, Vivian says she'll gain Heidi's trust by giving the Russos a common enemy. She reveals her plan: make them distrust both Lorenzo and Clarice. Can't get enough of the crazy world of In Times Like These? Then, treat yourself to a binge watch of In Times Like These. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You're not ready for what's to come, but tune in anyway.